Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. Here around the chutes, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to Texas Toast. I'm Miss Helen and super excited to welcome to the podcast for this episode someone that everyone needs to get to know. If you haven't already, say hello to Grace Tyler. Hello, Grace. How are you?
Hello, doing so good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's been a very enjoyable last few days for me. Getting really in touch with your music and in touch with who you are. And you have such an amazing story and you were destined to be in music. So you grew up in Frisco, Texas.
Yes, I did. Born and raised back when people still called it Oklahoma at that point. It's like what I like to joke about, but yes, born and raised in Frisco, and it's crazy, just like the Dallas area, seeing how it's grown. And it was cool too, because I grew up and it really was Sports City, USA. They call it
Yes.
that, but it's been cool to see how music and the arts have started to become more of a big deal in Frisco, because growing up, it definitely wasn't for me. I thought I had to play sports, and I rode that bench good. I sat there and I watched all my friends, and I was like, this is just not for me. And knew I always wanted to do music. And there was one little bar in Frisco growing up, and they had kids karaoke night. And on that kids karaoke night, my parents would just drop me and my friends off. And so I would sing, and all the like locals were like, okay, she's actually pretty decent. Like, this isn't as miserable as all the other kids singing Taylor Swift. After that, my parents were like, okay, well, maybe we'll get you voice lessons and stuff. And it was all history from there. Started playing, full band gigs around 14, just around the Dallas Fort Worth area, and decided to make the move to Nashville when I turned 18. And it's always, you talk about how as a little kid, you have your grown up goals and what you want to do as a adult. And mine never changed. I never grew out of it. I knew I wanted to be a singer, and I still am. So.
And that was a smart decision you made, because you went to Nashville also for your education, because you left high school and went there and attended Belmont.
Yes, my parents were like, well, if you're gonna do it, maybe let's go to college too, just in case. That wouldn't hurt. And so I'm glad I did, because my first semester of college, loved it. And then COVID hit. So while every other musician in Nashville was sitting at home, not doing anything, I was getting ahead in school and actually ended up graduating a year early, which was awesome. So that was the only good thing to come out of COVID, I swear, but I had something to keep me busy. And so I just graduated, and it's been great.
So you've had and or still have, but a lot of opportunities even as a college student to kind of get out and get exposed to the music scene there.
Yes, yeah, it was hard to balance. It's not gonna be had that, but trying to do music in college at the same time was really hard. Even when we did have the flexibility of online and stuff, I had to suck up to a lot of professors to be like, please, I'm opening for Lee Brice this weekend, I have to miss your class, like, please don't fail me because of it, because Belmont has really strict like attendance rules. And thankfully, most of the professors there are really understanding and know a lot of people come there for music, and they don't want to get the reputation that they're holding people back in their careers. So it was super cool to be able to have, my professors rooting me on and cheering for me, and being able to live this like double life of college student and also getting to play huge shows. And it was super cool.
That is freaking amazing. So speaking of Lee Brice, he's still involved in your career as your producer.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of getting to work with Lee on 2 songs, which are both out right now, Bad Boy and Cowboys and Tequila. And that's just it was honestly one of the coolest experiences, because, this is somebody I grew up listening to, and you never think you're going to have the opportunity to at least like just meet these people, but to have him have a say in the production of my music, and just to get that reassurance of, you know what you're doing and you're doing a good job is something I will never take for granted. And it was such a blessing. And he's so kind, one of the kindest people, because his schedule's crazy and he was willing to take, me, and was passionate about the project and spent hours and hours. And, it was funny too. I'd be sitting in class and it's Lee Brice pops up on my phone. I'm like, all right. And everybody's looking at me like, is that who I think that is calling you? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Question about the songs. I got to go answer this in the hall. And it was so special. And just to see how he took his own like Lee Brice spin on things was awesome. So very, very happy with how it all turned out.
Well, and you mentioned two of my favorite songs that we're going to get to your music in just a minute, but let's talk about your songwriting. You said that that was something that was kind of hard for you to like open up and just put it out there. So you have evolved as a songwriter. So tell me about your experience jumping into songwriting.
Yeah. So I used to hate writing songs. I'm not going to lie. It was the one thing about music that I just didn't feel confident in. And I started writing music when I was about 14, 15. And there's not much you can write about at 14 or 15 years old that Taylor Swift hasn't already written about, is what I like to joke. And so I really felt like I had to, put myself in the shoes of other people. And that's how I began as a writer. But never felt like I always knew I would love to perform, do music. But I had a hard time finding my own voice with it. And then moved to Nashville, started writing with all these incredible people, and was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I finally feel like I'm starting to learn my voice, understanding, what makes a song good and what makes a song great. And then COVID hit, and I really was put back into the space of like writing alone and writing by myself, which was really uncomfortable for me at the time. I love, having feedback from other people. And I forced myself to write a song every day during COVID. Some of them were awful, I'm not gonna lie. Some of them I'm like, delete right after. But some of them I loved. And I feel like it pushed me as a writer to get, once I got back and was able to see people, to, give it all I got. And now it's one of my favorite things about music is writing. So
yeah. Well, speaking of that too, one of the first songs that we discovered, Kyle had he does the streaming. We do a little segment called Texas on Tap, and we talked about your Texas and You, and I noticed that Kylie Fry was a co-writer on that one.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So Kylie was somebody I met before I moved to town. We did a little writers round, and people are always like, stay in touch, like, when you come to town, love to write. But she actually did, which was super cool, because this is somebody I really looked up to, because, we come from like a similar background of, trying to do the Texas thing. And she has just done an incredible job with it. And I loved her music and her as a person.
Yes, she is adorable.
I know. And so moved to town, and we actually write together a lot, and have had a lot of, successful songs together. And Texas and You was just one that we both knew that day. We were like, this is a great song. Like, this is something that I feel like I want to cut. And I knew it immediately then. And so it's super cool to have her name on it as well, my little big sister here in Nashville.
Yeah, and I love how it starts out, because it catches your attention, because it's just so descriptive about the first part, but it's just it's all around just a great song, and we loved it here. So another one you brought up earlier, Cowboys and Tequila. That is such a catchy, fun tune, but it's like, it's true story. There's some I could so relate to that. Two things I don't chase: Cowboys and Tequila.
I know, nobody warns you. If you write a song about stopping chasing all your liquor, nobody lets you chase it anymore. So now I'm like, woo, when I go out, I'm like, all right, let's one shot is my max. One shot is my max. But yeah, I wrote that song with Jack Hummel and Matt Gorman, and Jack had the idea and had been saving it. He was like, I have this idea for you, but it just has to be the right day, because we had to be in the right room. And me and Jack and Matt write super, super well together. And so he had this idea and had told me, but not told me the idea for at least 2 months. And then finally the day comes, and he's like, Grace, I have this title. I just know it's a song we have to write. And as soon as he said two things I don't chase, Cowboys and Tequila. I was like, let's write it. And we knocked it out maybe in an hour and a half. It was incredible. But yeah, it was super, super cool.
It's a fabulous song. And another great song that hit home with me, because I'm kind of that rear view 0 to 60. When things aren't going right, I'm driving. But Dust, and that's that's one that's close to your heart. Just looking at your background and reading some of your bio.
Yes, no, I wrote that song with Dylan Gunthroat and Jen Schott, and yeah, I feel like that's kind of my story. The song started as like an old like breakup song, and I was just like, guys, I don't know if that's the vibe. Like, I don't know if I want another depressing song, because I write breakup songs all the time. And Dylan was like, what if we like spin it around and be like, you never let the dust settle, like you're always this person on the go. And I feel like as a musician, kind of your life, and drive it in my car is my happy place. And so it was cool to see how that song just like changed over the course of our time just writing it.
So now we're going to talk about something, excuse me, we're going to tease this one a little bit, because you have a new single coming out. And I'm going to tell you, right before we came on for the podcast, it came in, and I pulled it up and I started listening. It's called Buckle of the Bible Belt. Y'all, there's no words that I can say about this song, except it's just a attention getter, attitude. Love the story. Buckle of the Bible Belt. When I just saw the title, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I feel like it really, does a great job of explaining how I grew up, and being from Texas, being from the South. Like, I mean, there's more churches than liquor stores is the joke I love to say. And so growing up in church and having faith was super important to me, and my faith is still strong to this day. But I think that we all can represent our faith in different ways. And one time when I was at church, I got I like to say dress coded for what I was wearing by the worship leader, which it was my dad let me walk out of the house like that. So it wasn't like I was, showing up to church in like a bikini. No, I wasn't. But that moment kind of always stuck with me, because I'm like, thank goodness, I'm strong in my faith. And, that doesn't rub me the wrong way. But I feel like there are, some people have that misconception. And the song, I just wanted to be like, I don't care what what you do, what you show up. If you're coming to church with me, then we are friends, and we are family. And I think it really does a good job of representing what more of a, outlook on faith I have. And I'm definitely the type of person, I like to go out on Saturday, but I show up Sunday morning, even if I come to late service and I'm a little tired. And but that's just a part of who I am and how I grew up. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yes, that's so relatable. Even at my age, back in those days, I'm small town too, Texas, 50 miles west of Houston and Sealy. And it was like, okay, that's fine, girls. If you're going to go to the emotions dance at the Columbus KC Hall, you will be in church on Sunday.
Yes, you will.
We would be there with smiles on, greeting everybody. Yes,
exactly.
and participating. Yeah. So Buckle of the Bible Belt, it's going to be released on streaming platforms.
Yes, August 12th, coming out everywhere. So yes, put that on your calendar, make sure to check it out. I'm super excited for this one. I feel like it's got a lot more rock than a lot of other, like at least female country I've been hearing lately. And when we were in the studio, I wanted to definitely bring that out, because that's a side of me I love. Is I feel like I when I go work out at the gym, I'm listening to like 70s, 80s rock and roll. And so I love that this song kind of can combine country with a little more of that rock side with it as well.
Yes, it's a good one. So everyone check that out. So what do you have coming up? Are you out touring? Are you mainly just concentrating on getting new music laid down, or where is that?
So right now I'm staying here writing. I just signed with William Morris for booking, and
Wonderful.
I'm so excited. So 2023, hopefully going to be on the road doing a lot of that stuff. Right now, I'm just building up my catalog with new songs and writing, and just trying to write the best music I can before hitting the road, hopefully soon. So yes, I've got a couple local gigs coming up, a few things back home in Texas for the rest of the year, but mostly focusing on writing and getting that music out. So yeah.
Well, we're super excited for you. It's Grace Tyler. I guess your website is
Grace Tyler Music. Someone stole gracetyler.com, so we had to add the music in. But yes, anywhere, just search Grace Tyler and I pop up.
Okay. Well, anything else we need to cover before we wrap things up?
I think that's it. Thank you.
I have one question. I like all the pictures behind you.
Thank you. This is my, I know people can't hear or can't see it who are listening, but I have this whole wall set up behind me of my greatest influences. And I'm a bargain shopper, so these are all from Dollar Tree, and I printed them on my printer.
Wow.
Like $30 to do. It looks way more expensive, but it's just $30. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool. I did this when I moved into my house here, and I just wanted, sitting behind me, all the people I strive to be. And so it's cool to do that when I get to do these interviews like this, because it's a reminder of, every person sitting behind me or on the wall behind me had to be in my spot at one time. And so it's a good reminder to keep pushing forward.
That is a wonderful story. And you've inspired me, because I have so many like pictures and pictures with people in Texas country, because my background was radio. So, got to meet and greet and visit and radio tours and things like that, and have all these pictures. And I'm like, I just need to have a wall like upstairs behind me. So that's just good job. Kudos on that. Awesome. Okay. So one last question before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Oh, if I was a cocktail, ooh, that's a great question. I'd say I'm a ranch water, because I'm a tequila girl and a Texas girl. And, here in Nashville, they don't know what you mean when you say ranch water. So I have to say tequila soda with a lime. But
yes,
the favorite part about going home to Texas is I can just say ranch water and they know exactly what I'm talking about.
I had some ranch water over the weekend and it was refreshing.
The best. It's the best.
Okay. Thank you so much, Grace Tyler.
Thank you.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go to hell. Hell, I'll go to Texas. I've had my fill of every place but home. Well, take away these city lights, put me on a one-way flight. I'm leaving out of here tonight. Just consider me